I can't emphasize this enough. Isaiah's prophecies are directed to all people, but mostly to the covenant people, and mostly to the covenant people of the last days. We see this repeatedly, sometimes in Isaiah's own words, sometimes in Nephi's words, and most importantly, in the Savior's words. And all things that he, Isaiah, spake have been and shall be. All things that he spake shall yet be. We need to remember that not only did Nephi and Abinadi and other prophets quote Isaiah in the Book of Mormon, but the Savior himself quoted it extensively. The Lord knew the Book of Mormon would come forth in the last days, which, in my opinion, is why he gave us page after page of Isaiah. It's for us. So, what does Isaiah say in the first few words of his prophecies? He both indicts and warns his covenant people. He says God has raised up children, but they've rebelled against him. He says animals know their masters, but his own people don't know theirs. He says his covenant children are a sinful nation, gone away backward, something that implies a degree of apostasy. And here, in only the second paragraph of Isaiah, he asks a question. Why should ye be stricken any more? Meaning, why will you keep sinning when it only leads to more pain? He doesn't answer this because it's our question to answer. But he does tell us what'll happen if we don't start keeping all of our covenants as a people. Speaking as if the consequences have already happened, he says, your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. Interestingly, by the time Isaiah wrote this, toward the end of his life, these words had already been fulfilled in Israel. But as a prophecy to Israel's future, it still hasn't been fulfilled and won't be until the very last days. Of course, many of Isaiah's prophecies will have multiple fulfillments. One of our own apostles, Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, said, many of Isaiah's prophecies can be, or have been, or will be fulfilled in more than one way and in more than one dispensation. And there may be more than two fulfillments of some of his prophecies. But here, as he makes clear in the next chapter, Isaiah is speaking of the last days. He says that at that time the whole head will be sick and the whole heart faint. And he says that because of iniquity among the covenant people, the daughter of Zion will become like a rickety old shack on a farm. In Isaiah's day, farmers built small shacks for watchmen to sit in as they watched over the crops to protect them from thieves and animals. But after the harvest, the shacks were often forgotten and fell into disrepair. Isaiah says that this capital, the daughter of Zion, would also fall into disrepair. In fact, it would become a besieged city. And just as Jerusalem became a besieged city in his day, so will the capital of the covenant people in the last days be besieged by a foreign power. And as we've already quoted, the cities will be burned with fire, and the land will be made desolate as overthrown by strangers. Isaiah says this devastation will be so great that he likens it to Sodom and Gomorrah. The fact that he uses Sodom and Gomorrah as a comparison shows the depravity that will be found in this city at that time. All of this is foretold in one small paragraph, 5 verses at the beginning of Isaiah. This is how he introduces himself and all of his prophecies that follow to us. If we take all this literally, it becomes a bit unnerving. It means that we, the Lord's covenant people, have some waking up to do, some changes to make. But unfortunately, many of us aren't aware of this, because many of us don't even listen to our own prophet. As President Russell M. Nelson said recently, I plead with you who have distanced yourselves from the church, and with you who have not yet really sought to know the Savior's church has been restored. Do the spiritual work to find out for yourselves, and please do it now. Time is running out. Time is running out. The day of the Lord of hosts is soon in coming. Isaiah's words are great, not only because they are true, not only because they have multiple fulfillments, but because all of them will have fulfillments in our day, in these last days. All things that he spake have been and shall be, even the words of warning he gives to the latter-day daughter of Zion. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.